Hello, I hope you guys are all doing well this week. Like I mentioned last week, things are starting to pick up a little bit for me as I'm transitioning back into more of a full schedule. So some things that have come up this week are my caseload is kind of picking up here with the kids. And one thing I wanted to talk about was setting behavior plans for some students and how that's working out with the teachers. I know this is another thing that I've talked about is a lot of these teachers have been in this particular school district for 25 plus years. I remember some of them when I was a kid. So um, a lot of they've been doing a lot of the same thing for an extended period of time, so change doesn't always happen very easily. Um, there are a handful of students that we've considered doing behavior plans on, and sometimes it's as simple as just kind of having a checklist on how their day went so the teachers don't have to write a detailed note or they don't have to call home. It's really just kind of like a thumbs up, thumbs down kind of a deal so that there's accountability. But these students are older, so it's not as simple as the happy or sad face. It needs to be a little bit more detailed than that. And really, there are some parents that are interested in this, but there are some teachers that are kind of approaching it with the attitude of, well, this isn't something that I normally do, but maybe I'll do it. And then there isn't much follow through. But I do think it's important so that the families feel like they're being communicated with, as well as the student being held accountable for more bad days. So that's something we're still trying to figure out on how much we'll actually do that, and it really kind of depends on how much support we'll get with that from administration and teachers. Because I know it does take a little bit of extra time, but I think it can be worth that extra time to have a behavior plan. But it's social work and education trying to kind of work together here. So that's one thing I'm kind of seeing this week, and another is one student in particular who has been dealing with the same thing on and off outside of her control. She's a great kid, really bright, motivated, and just really kind of a pleasure to be around. And she has a sick mom who earlier in the year everyone was kind of convinced that she was on the last few days of her life, so we had services in place in case that was going to happen, grief counseling, and then mom pulled through and now is kind of really sick again, needs to get some major surgery. There's no one at home to care for mom, so this student is kind of left really worried about how mom's doing, about how to care for her, and the dad isn't really supportive either. So this student, their teacher came and talked to me about how she's very tired in class, can barely keep her eyes open. And like I said, she's a good student, but you can tell that there's a huge change in just her behavior and her energy levels. So one thing we wanted to do, because she gets so worried because mom's home alone, was maybe have her call and check in, because there's some regulations on whether or not a student's allowed to use their phone at school. So this was something I planned to talk to the principal about. Maybe she could call and check in with her mom, but then on second thought, it might be a negative thing because her mom isn't really one to hide her emotions at all, and this student has kind of become the parent in the situation. So I think that might be negative to have the daughter call her mom and then her mom tell her that she's not doing well, that she's feeling horrible, that she maybe wishes someone was there, and that might affect the student in a negative way for the rest of the day. So while I want to give her a coping skill, which initially maybe would have been hearing mom's voice and that she was okay, I think that might kind of backfire in the end, which is not what I want to do. I certainly don't want to make things harder for her while she's on campus. And that kind of brings up the next topic here, is that I'm trying to maybe have a parent group, because there are so many environmental issues that the students are facing. So while I get them, I get them once a week for not long at all, they go home to the same environment where the issues continue to cycle, and that's really where I kind of want to put my focus. And we have a social worker with Lutheran Social Services who could meet parents at their home, here at school, or at the office, where we could do maybe some parent training, because I think that's kind of where the focus needs to be for a lot of these students. So anyway, that's where I am for now. I hope you guys are all having a really good week, and we'll be talking to you soon. All right, bye-bye.